Hello, peeps, and hello, peppers. Welcome to another start of the week rambling. Yeah, I think you will see Nicholas at some point. I wanted him in the picture because he reminds me of a horse in a movie I saw on the weekend. Yes, this past Thursday, I had another like poetry presentation, and um, my poem was, amongst other things, about horses that have some sort of injury and meet people who have some sort of injury, like of the type the horse whisperer, primo baby, and so forth. And since the phone and computer are actually really busy and curious to listen to us, I got a recommendation for like a bazillion horse films on YouTube. Like not documentary films, but yeah. Anyway, love films connected to horses, therapy films connected to horses. So I thought I might spare a small thought for Wind Dancer from 1993. Which some people in the comments on YouTube really reviewed positively, but let's say I am taking the liberty to also come with some critical points as a disabled person. Like, this film is from 1993. So, and I was born in 1981. So I would imagine that had I seen this film in 1993, that would have been like a girl my age who had a riding accident and let's say it's not quite well explained if that was like a brain injury or a spinal cord injury. Anyway, something central nervous system and something psychological shock because she doesn't speak anymore and she doesn't move anymore, and her widowed father is sort of stuck with her, like with no way to communicate, and uh, like, let's say, only do some makeshift homemade physiotherapy, make that work at home. um yes, that was maybe also the spirit of the time, and maybe it was also the spirit of the time what happens next in the movie, which is the father hires a therapist who advertises something called zoo therapy. I will have to Google that later if that's really called zoo therapy today, but I think everybody has heard something or other about animal therapy, because the animals don't judge us and the animals are like usually friendly, but they are also kind of not communicating with words. So like when I got hippo therapy, that was basically like horseback riding with two people holding onto me in order to secure me. I was always instructed to never move around behind the horse, because like the horse doesn't see behind and then it would start kicking. Um, it never kicked. Actually, when at some point someone kicked something around on the ground uh, in front of the horse, and the horse probably didn't know what that was, it started hopping, and I was like, Jesus, okay, something is finally happening. Uh, I like that because, yeah, because I wanted to like learn to ride properly, which I never did. But okay, now I'm trailing away to the side. Obviously, this young girl could ride properly at some point, and obviously, it is catastrophic for people to, let's say, you lose abilities from one day to the next. I have not made that kind of experience because if at all, my disability worsens gradually. And like in today's time, I can't sit on a horse anymore because there is a muscle on the inside of the leg that is just too short. Like I'm basically walking with both legs turned to the inside. Yeah, and you probably could stretch them with a lot of extreme physiotherapy. So now, of course, I was interested in this old film about extreme therapy because the therapist says like uh, it craves a lot of like self discipline, and the father has to work along and the daughter has to work along, um, which is an idea that I can basically subscribe to from my life because I did P2 for a while, which is like, let's say, sort of a crossover between occupational therapy and physiotherapy. And the people who proclaim it, they say it's a lifestyle and the entire family has to work along, and they're like specific pieces of furniture for Peter. So yeah, like you really have to make adjustments in your life. Um, you don't necessarily incorporate animals into the Peter lifestyle, but you can. Um, and I'm mentioning this because the therapist in the movie and her harshness and uh, call for discipline reminds me of some people who do Peter and some people who also, let's say, have rejected Peter in my close surroundings because they thought it was too harsh. Yes, we're all different. So I'm not telling you to do this or that. I'm just kind of reviewing a movie and blending my own experience into this. And like compared to the folks in the movie, I'm lazy because I'm just resting on Nicola's shoulder. But I've already done my share of running around town and conversing with people. I still like doing YouTube for delivering monologues and maybe starting a dialogue with you. Um, but for that, you would have to leave me a comment, and most people don't do that. Um, Maybe because I am not a mass product, and like the therapy in the movie as it was presented, it was probably not a mass product either. Because the therapist in the story mentioned she was only like treating very few children at a time, if not one child at a time. It was never mentioned in the story what the therapy costed, and I find that a shame because it's like, of course, prices have changed a lot since 1993, but uh, when we talk about intense therapies, miracle therapies, whatnot, we should also mention that most of these therapies are expensive. People don't necessarily have the funding for them. Um, we should talk more about resources, where to get the funding for them, and also like finding the balance between the strain that therapies of all kinds take on the families versus how it is actually useful. Um, and of course, there I have a minute of silence again because myself, I have a very difficult relation to therapies and spending big parts of the day as a kid in therapy. um, what bothered me actually the most about the movie is that, like, they wanted to kind of assume that most of the paralysis and non-speaking was psychological. So this disability could basically be cured by self-discipline. Ha ha ha. Um, let's say if any future filmmakers are watching this, like, please, let's don't put out such claims into the world. Of course, there can be a lot of things done with self discipline. Like now that I mentioned Peter, we can continue mentioning that Mr. Peter um, actually believed in rewiring the brain by teaching the body movements by steady repetition. And okay, here's a button. Now I lost my words. Now there was a like an incoming phone call, and now I lost my words. Hey, words, come again. Okay, Dr. Peter didn't rewire my brain like that, but uh, let's say many people in the 80s and 90s didn't consider that some people with motion disabilities also have uh, other disabilities by the side that don't necessarily have to do anything with the stuff that you can see. So, yes, I learned to walk again after a surgery by steady repetition of movements, but let's say yeah, okay, it's good in the movie that like they show it takes a lot of work. uh if you want to treat something by practice, but let's say some things made my neck hair stand up like that. Nobody was ever allowed to help the girl because like uh today I had such a fun experience where I like read tarot for people in a swimming pool, relatively spontaneously. I mean the cards were coded with something, so they tolerated some drops of water, and it was like interesting that just the tree of life got wet, just like in my book. Uh, but like let's say the people brought me such a swimming board and a cloth and everything to secure the cards. So I made the experience once again that when people help me actually in ways that make sense, I can do so much more. So what I totally missed in this Wind Dancer film on the weekend was this like community spirit, this doing something together. Of course, like the widowed father fell for the therapist, uh, and that was kind of a harmony. But let's say, where was this family doing something together? Where were those people actually having fun? Um, I miss that. And with those words, I kind of want to tell everyone who potentially watches this video, have fun and tell stories where you had fun while you were doing something for your health. Um, I wish you a very nice night, and um, I would love to get some theme suggestions. Bye bye.